Oh, my favorite class has returned. Back for another history lesson. But let's get into it. But before we start, you know how we start these videos. Say it with me. Fuck Black History Month. Black history is every day, not just a month. All right, so we've been breaking down this way of freedom. If you missed the other lessons, go back on my page. You'll see them. Like the page, subscribe, follow me on all platforms, because we getting it in over here. It's real on this side, baby. All right, we done covered the F, the R, the E, the D. Now let's talk about that O. O stands for Octaroon. An Octaroon is a person with 1/8 African ancestry, or one African great-grandparent and 7 European great-grandparents. The term was used in the United States and Australia. Let me explain. The term was used in the 1890 United States Census to classify people with a specific amount of white and black ancestry. The Census Bureau later abandoned this classification system, deeming it unreliable and of little value. Duh. In Australia, the term was used to describe people with 1/8 Aboriginal ancestry. This was during a time when the government was implementing assimilation policies on the stolen generations. In the colonial societies of the Americas and Australia, a quadroon or quarteroon in the United Kingdom, the term quarter caste is used, was a person with 1/4 African or Aboriginal and 3/4 European ancestry. Similar classifications were octaroon for 1/8 black, Latin root octo, meaning 8. Okay? And quintroon for 1/16 black. All right. Governments at the time sometimes incorporated the terms in law defining rights and restrictions. Say what now? The use of such terminology is a characteristic of hypodescent, which is the practice within a society of assigning children of mixed unions to the ethnic group which the dominant group perceives as being subordinate. And that is why it's tied into Black history. Whew, boy, it's getting real up in here. The racial designations refer specifically to the number of full-blooded African ancestors or equivalent, emphasizing the quantitative least, with quadroon signifying that a person has 1/4 black ancestry. Quadroon was used to designate a person of 1/4 African or Aboriginal ancestry that is equivalent to one biracial parent, African Aboriginal and Caucasian, and one white or European parent. In other words, the equivalent of one African/Aboriginal grandparent and 3 white or European grandparents. In some countries in Latin America, which had a variety of terms for racial groups, some terms for quadroons were Morisco or Chino. Tesseran was a term synonymous with quadroon, derived from being 3 generations of descent from an African ancestor, counting the ancestor as the first generation. The term mulatto was used to designate a person who was biracial, with one fully black parent and one fully white parent, or a person whose parents are both mulatto. In some cases, it was used as a general term, for instance, on U.S. Census classifications to refer to all persons of mixed race without regard for proportion of ancestries. The only time a more specific classification was utilized was in the 1896 census, which counted almost 1 million mulattoes, over 100,000 quadroons, and slightly under 70,000 octaroons among 7.5 million black people. However, The Census Bureau concluded from the experience that this kind of distinction is unreliable and of little value. So it was abandoned. You think? The term Octaroon referred to a person with 1/8 African or Aboriginal ancestry. That is, someone with family heritage equivalent to one biracial grandparent. In other words, one African great grandparent, 7 European great grandparents. The term Socotra was used to refer to one who was 7/8 black or African and 1/8 white or European, i.e., an individual with one black and one white parent or one white great grandparent. The term Mustafino refers to a person with 1/16 African ancestry. The terms Quintroon or hexadecaroon were also used. Try saying that 10 times fast. Whew. In some countries in Latin America, the term Sambo was used for an individual of 3/4 black percentage or black parentage, i.e., the child of a mulatto parent and a fully black parent. Oh yeah, this discrimination went worldwide. Now ain't that bottled?